As a child, my friends and I often liked to play on construction sites, basements, attics, and other abandoned and deserted places. Our house had a basement that was locked. And then, one day, the guys and I saw that the door to the basement was open. Without thinking twice, we decided to go down there. We've always wanted to know what's under our house. The mysterious door to the dungeon beckoned and frightened at the same time. One of the kids was running to get a lantern. We opened a creaking door to the unknown. It was dark and scary, but curiosity drove us to seek adventure. The basement was dark and damp. There were pipes everywhere, with cats running around and flashing their eyes. We moved on and on, lighting the walls with our flashlight. The smell of damp and mildew was everywhere. Cat shadows turned into huge panthers and hissed loudly at us. There was a sound like a silent song coming from the depths of the basement. We all snuggled together and fell silent. The lantern illuminated the entrance to the corridor where the sound was coming from. Someone said, "Can we go back?" But his question remained unanswered. As quietly as we could, we moved into the darkened room. The beam showed a small room hung with large pipes and cobwebs. There was a broom on the floor. The dreaded melody was somewhere nearby. As the lantern moved along the walls, searching for the source of the sound, its beam caught the cat's eyes. They were looking directly at us with their yellow lights. The cat was perched on the silhouette's shoulders. The lantern illuminated a figure in a black dress. With his back to us, someone was sitting and singing a terrible song, and on the shoulder of the silhouette sat a huge black cat. The silhouette abruptly stopped singing and turned to face us. We froze in horror and saw an old woman holding out her hands to us. "Come on in, guys. Don't be afraid." A dry hand with yellow nails almost reached us. Everyone recognized the grandmother from our entrance, from the second floor. She always wore a black dress and looked like an old woman named Shapokliak. We screamed in fear and ran, pushing each other to the exit. The old woman's hideous laughter followed us. Everyone ran home. That night, I didn't get much sleep, and I cried for a long time out of fear. My parents calmed me down for another week, and they strictly forbade me to climb in basements. With the guys, we decided to check on the old neighbor in a couple of days and called her apartment. There was a rustle outside the door, and then her alcoholic son opened the door for us. "What do you want?" "I don't have any waste paper. Get out of here." In those days, it was customary to collect waste paper. We decided to guard our neighbor at the entrance, but we haven't seen her since. Everyone assumed that she was either returning late or had left somewhere. Everyone began to forget this incident. And then there was a coffin lid at the entrance. It was such a stupid custom to insert a death attribute on the day of the funeral. We found out that this old grandmother had died from the second floor. The way to the basement was open. Once again, we decided to go down to the basement with the guys. They all had flashlights now. When we got to the room where we met the old woman, we stopped dead in our tracks. Our lanterns illuminated an empty chair where a huge black cat was sitting. A broomstick stood nearby. We froze, not knowing what to do. The cat looked at us and suddenly began to sing the same song that the old woman sang. We heard footsteps behind us. Everyone turned around and shone their light through the doorway. Our neighbor's shadow hung on the wall. We could hear our hearts beating. Everyone shouted in unison in fear and rushed to the exit. As we ran out of the basement, we all heard Granny's nasty laugh coming from behind us. Since then, no one else has ventured into this basement. They hung a huge lock on it and enclosed it with a grate. Plumbers bravely went down there when there was an accident or burst pipes. But they came back with gray hair and were never seen again.